What's up, YouTube? I'm Brad from Rants. As always, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000, and we hope you guys can help us get there. Alright, so American Gods Season 3 is finally done. Finally done. I'm actually kind of sad to see it go. I'm looking forward to a Season 4. I'm hoping that there will be a Season 4, but this is one show that it's kind of always up in the air whether or not it's going to get renewed for another season, and this will be no different. But here's hoping for a season 4. I felt like episode 10 as an episode was a pretty good episode. I thought maybe as a season finale, I thought it was kind of mediocre though. Only because of the unanswered questions and kind of where the characters were left off. I don't mind characters being left off in like uncomfortable situations. But I kind of felt like there was this uneasiness about where these characters left off and in what state they were left off that made me very uncomfortable. I didn't think that it was maybe the proper place that you would normally do this for a season finale. Seems like the relationship between Shadow Moon and Laura is forever torn, but then that can't be because of what we know through the first scene of this episode. When Eugenia kind of declares that his other half is not a sibling, but Laura. I'm not gonna say I'm not disappointed by that. I am extremely disappointed by that. Laura going into this season was one of my favorite characters. She was one of my favorite characters on this show. But I realize now the reason why she was one of my favorite characters was because she had a really good connection with Mad Sweeney. Once Sweeney left, and is no more on this show, her point of being is just to be cynical for cynical's sake. I get really sick and tired of that. I really do. She has not had very many good lines this season. She has not had very many good episodes this season. I just don't really like her character anymore. I don't feel like she is a good match for Shadow Moon. I don't even feel the love between these two characters anymore. If you had brought back Shadow Moon, I mean not Shadow Moon, but Mad Sweeney. If you would have brought back Mad Sweeney, and you would have had maybe a love triangle where that Shadow Moon is the old love and Mad Sweeney is the new love, and she's having to maybe choose between her past and her present to reveal her future. I could say, you know what, that could have worked. But not having Mad Sweeney there really hurts this show in that regard, because she feels like she has no connection with Shadow at all anymore. Even when they meet up in middle of America, Kansas, I don't like. She even says it. She says, "Well, now what are you doing? Now you can go and you can be free and you can have the white picket fences and the babies and all the stuff that you dreamed about." But then you kind of find out that's not what he wants anymore. That's not who he is. So the Shadow that she knew and the Shadow that she loved is not the same Shadow that she sees before. Now, I was a little bit confused by that a little bit, because the Shadow Moon that we even saw last episode, where he's in the hot tub with, I think her name is Marguerite, and he hears the baby, and he's trying to think of a life with her, and with maybe a possible child, and then she drowns him. I don't know if that was some form of rebirth to him, or some sort of realization that maybe that life is not for him. But we really see a dark side of Shadow that we haven't seen before. Basically, it's it's like since Wednesday dies, um, he becomes obsessed with being a god. Where in the beginning of this season, all he could do was try to think about how to get away from this, how to have a normal life. Now it's either he's come to terms that that's impossible, or either he, like Wednesday has stated before, a part of him wants to be a god. Part of him wants to be a part of this grand scheme of things, this battle between old gods and new gods. And I kind of lean on that he does. And I think he made it pretty clear. He made it, it was when he got on Yggdrasil. He made it very clear that he was either going to die up on that tree or he was going to be reborn as a new god. I will say this. I took some of the scenes, the dream scenes with him and Wednesday maybe a little bit differently than a lot of people. A lot of people will say, well, Shadow Moon was set up by Wednesday to basically make him strong, make Wednesday stronger, make him more powerful. But you know what I actually think it is? And this could just be way out there. I think when Wednesday said those words, that basically he was used to make Wednesday stronger by sacrificing himself on that tree. I think what he was meaning was you're going to be reborn and you're going to be my second command. And that Chernobog was never going to be Wednesday's second. It was always going to be Shadow, which makes sense because it seems like that's what he's been setting up from the very beginning. Was that Shadow was going to be his second command? So I think that is what Wednesday was meaning when he was saying that. I don't think it was a setup to to kill Shadow. That Shadow was destined to do this to make just for Wednesday's sake. I think Wednesday intends for Shadow to be reborn as a new god. Now he does make that comment, when Shadow says, "I'm a god," and Wednesday says, "Well, that is yet to be seen." I think that is. There's a part of me that thinks that being on Yggdrasil actually is giving him his inner doubts about, and I don't know if that was what he was seeing, if that was actually Wednesday, or that was his inner self telling him Wednesday's setting you up for something, or you're not really a god, or something along those lines. Like maybe his inner doubt, and maybe to survive being on there, he has to survive the 9 days he has to be on that tree. Is maybe he has to overcome his inner demons, his inner doubts, and become the god that he was destined to be. The god that I believe Wednesday has been setting him up from the very beginning. But I do not believe that Wednesday was setting him up just to murder him. I don't believe that was the whole point. I think Wednesday was setting him up to make him reborn and therefore strengthen the old gods. Because while Odin might have a bad reputation with a lot of these old gods, it seems like Shadow Moon has this way that he can bring people together a little bit, and maybe garner respect. And being on Yggdrasil, we'll get the respect of Chernobog and some of these other old gods that will make them go, you know what? he's a powerful god. He's one that we can follow. And so if he's behind Wednesday's ploy for power, and is cool with it and is pushing for it, I believe they will follow him. I really do. I think that's what it is. A lot of people will be like, "Well, Wednesday set him up," and I don't think Wednesday set him up. I don't think he was there to die. I think Wednesday intends for him to be reborn. I think that was what Wednesday's intention was from the very beginning. But overall, I mean, so many things happen on this episode. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed by Eugenia's story. She was what the midwife that was supposed to um, really reveal the other side, and I just thought the reveal of Laura is that was just I can't get over that aspect of it. And I'm like, why couldn't it have been like Cordelia? It seemed like they were kind of pushing them for a little bit. That Cordelia was going to be maybe a sister, maybe a twin of some kind of Shadows, because there was something special in the relationship between Wednesday and her, just like there was something special between the relationship between him and Shadow. There was love, seemed like felt between them. Um, so I kind of was a little bit disappointed that she might just be nothing more than a chauffeur. I was really hoping that she was being set up as the other half that he needed to find. I hate that it was Laura. I will say I did kind of find it a little odd that of the mixing of the traditions of these various civilizations in one scene. That Eugenia scene, when she's dying and it shows the coins on her eyes. What is that? That's like a Greek symbol for Charon. To get on his boat and go across what the river Styx or something along those lines. And then it showed that, and then it showed, I think his name, that Orisha Iku. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. Shows him. So you have like this mixing of these two civilizations with one woman, and I don't really understand why they necessarily did that. Not unless it's on purpose, not unless there is some connection with her and that those gods as well. I don't get that. That was just as confusing as Iku's having that boxing robe on. What was that even supposed to have been about? It's very confusing. I didn't get it. I don't know if that was a boxing robe, but it sure as heck looked like one. It looked like one that when they come out to the ring, that is exactly what it looked like to me. Could just been something else, and but it even had his name on it. So I'm like, it's something. Maybe it's a ceremonial garb or something. I don't know, but it sure did look like a boxing robe to me. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought Eugenia's story should have had more. Now it's going to have to be told through Bilquis. And speaking of Bilquis, I did not understand the dream scene between Bilquis and Laura. That was so confusing to me because the dancing, what is that supposed to exactly symbolize? Does it symbolize maybe a union between the two, maybe an alliance as a means of reconnecting or bringing Shadow Moon back to who he really is? Or maybe that's the only thing that I can really think of is, or an alliance maybe to bring down Wednesday. I don't know. It was all really confusing to me. I did not get that aspect, why they even brought that back. But as far as Laura, the whole episode with Laura, she she to be my to be one of my favorite characters up to season 3. She has just been such a disappointment this season. Even to the point where she trusts the new gods, and then she realizes, oh man, they're going to betray me. Like, I mean, come on, what did you think they were going to do? Did you really think that they were going to allow you to live? Like, you were going to be their scapegoat. And it also brings up another question. Why do they need a scapegoat? They keep saying that that shard project is going to be the end of the old gods. So why does Mr. World keep going back to um, trying to have these like peace talks that really go nowheres? I don't really understand that. When at the end of each one of these peace talks, he always says the words, "You're gonna fade into nothingness," basically. You're gonna be no more once this project is complete. And so basically, I guess say your goodbyes. So I don't understand why he even needed Laura to begin with. What was the point of a goodwill thing? Not unless, and hear me out on this, he knows that Laura is Shadow's other half, and that Shadow will lead to their destruction, the new god's destruction. So he might need the old gods to kill her, or for her to die, whether it be by the new god's hands or the old god's hands, needs her to die in order to prevent that future. That's the only thing I can think of. We know that these I forget what they call it, divination or something like that, where that they can see into the future. Having technology that maybe can do something along those lines, or maybe he's just aware of it through some ancient prophecy or something along those lines as well. So that's the only kind of thing I can really think about, is why he even needed to make that peace offering in the first place, because it was clear that they weren't going to just believe that he was just an innocent bystander. I mean, I just don't understand why that was even an option. He knew that Laura was going to spill the beans, and why wouldn't she? I mean, she has literally nothing else to lose at this point. If Laura is going to go down, she is going to go down with the fight. Period. So yeah, I was a little bit confused by that. Um, I just do not understand for the life of me how, and I keep going back to this, and I'm like, why do they not see this? I mean, are they not watching seasons 1, 2, and 3? Laura is just not. Uh, if they make it where Laura is his other half, and let's say at the end of this, Laura and Shadow Moon go off to have their picket fence and their children, I won't like that ending. I don't think a lot of people are going to feel fulfilled by it. I was hoping that Laura would sacrifice herself in order to bring Shadow Moon back to, or to save his life, back to reality, or to prevent his death or something like that. I was hoping she would be his sacrifice that would do something along those lines, because I think there is a little bit of love there still, at least from her end. So I thought that could be a really good use for her. But it looks like that's not where they're wanting to go with this. It looks like they're wanting it to end in that way, that typical way, where man, falls in love with girl dumps him for a little bit. They go through a few seasons of in between, maybe with other lovers, and then at the end they end up happily ever after. I hope that's not where they're going with this. I don't know. I'm so disappointed with her character. I cannot state it enough. Of course, I've been disappointed with Shadow's character as well. Um, I will say this, and this is kind of a little bit off topic, but it kind of does relate to their story. When Shadow Moon is up on Yggdrasil, and old Mr. World whistles that song in front of Tech Boy. Um, Whistles that song. I think it is called Requiem of Balder or something along those lines. Is what they stated. That woman stated to Laura in Purgatory. I wonder if that Requiem of Balder was basically signifying that that is exactly who Shadow Moon is. That would explain his light. That would make all of this make perfect and total sense of why, of course we saw Thor in this. Now we see Balder. That would make, to me, that would bring all that together. It would place him in the pantheon of the gods. Um, I would actually be really cool with that idea. I think that's where they were going. I don't know why Laura was thinking of that song. I forget if she was whistling it or just thinking about it or humming it. Him doing that or her doing that, and then now Mr. World doing it. Is something special about that song, and I think it has something to do with the end of the season. Of course, him up on Yggdrasil. Um, as far as Tech Boy is concerned, um, Tech Boy, he has been so hit and miss for me. Um, I feel like if they were going to make him into that bridge between the old gods and the new gods and make him this all powerful being, I feel like they should have gave him a little bit more scenes this season. Um, it makes sense that I guess he kind of is. It makes sense that Artifact One is kind of his the thing that allows him to recognize just how powerful he truly is. But then, as soon as he learns it, and he learns how powerful he is, he gets trapped in the dumbest way by Mr. World. And I'm like, if you're that all powerful, that even Mr. World bows to you, basically, you have gone, um, and you've even touched that artifact, and that artifact has brought all this back to you. You sure were easily trapped. So I was a little bit disappointed by that. But it does, like I said, it does kind of make sense that he is kind of a bridge between both of them. I would say, though, at the end of the day, he feels like an old god. Um, he feels like maybe a true god in any sense of the matter because he is in every civilization um, he's been worshipped since the dawn of time. Where these others have been worshipped by specific civilizations, in some form or fashion, maybe over time, but it is only him that has been consistently worshipped from the very first beginning of human civilization. He apparently is the first god, or at least it would seem that way, like he is the first god. Now, in the books, there is this unknown god. He's so old they don't even remember who he is, and no one can ever remember seeing his face. And I almost kind of wonder if he is, if that is the role that Tech Boy is taking in the series, kind of mixing in that character from the books into reality and just making him that god that is so old that no one even remembers how powerful or who he is. That one to me would make a lot of sense. I would be really excited if that was how they did it because I've always wondered about that in the books. I would love to see maybe a storyline of that in the series. And the only way I know that they could maybe bridge that is to make Tech Boy that god. Maybe, of course, he wouldn't have the power to, where you don't remember what he looked like or who he was. But in a way, he kind of is that way, anyways, because he's technology. He doesn't have a specific form. He is what anybody creates and what they make of him. So in a way, he is that and isn't that at the same time. So I think that would be a nice way for them to incorporate that one character into the series. But yeah, I mean overall, um, Mr. World basically telling us who he is with the whole trickster thing. I mean, that kind of was, you know, the ones that have read the books probably already know what that means. I won't just completely and totally, break that down for y'all, just in case y'all haven't read the books. But I mean, if you saw the episode, you can probably guess who he really is. I don't really know why Tech Boy kept repeating, "Who are you? Who are you really?" Um, I don't see why that really even mattered, you know, at the end of the day. But I just kind of felt like he basically told us that, you know what, they're going to follow that path from the books to the series. I am excited about that and am not excited about that as well. Um, I'm the type of person that believes that if you're going to follow the book, follow it all the way through. And they have not done that. They've gave Laura and they gave Mad Sweeney. They've given a few of these other gods bigger roles than what they had in the books. So they have not followed the books entirely. So for them to kind of do that whole mixture of we're going to go down a path similar like Game of Thrones, where we follow, we change some things up, we leave some characters out, we give more story to some characters that weren't given that in the books, and we take different routes, but all the paths lead to the same place, the books and in the series. And that seems like the path that they're actually going with American Gods as well. So yes, I mean it's kind of rewarding if you're a book reader. It is, but for somebody like me who, like I said, is big on if you're going to follow something, follow it. If you're not going to follow it, don't follow it. Make a story of your own. Um, I would have preferred making the story on its own and just going from there because I feel like the series is miles ahead of what the book was. That's just my opinion. That's just the way I feel towards this series as a whole. But I think overall, I think probably the only other thing that I noticed that I had questions about during this was in that dream sequence between Shadow Moon and when he's talking to Wednesday on the plane from the first episode of the series. When he sees that pastry from Lakeside and is filled with maggots, and then Tyr's teeth falls from the overhead compartment. I don't really understand what that was exactly supposed to signify. Was that supposed to detail his journey of what was found? Maybe the kids' teeth in Lakeside and the sacrifices. I don't really understand exactly what or maybe the death from the maggots that was at Lakeside and the teeth from Tyr. Was that supposed to signify be like a telling of his journey? Because other than that, I didn't really understand what was the point of even showing that. Like, was he supposed to? Is it meaningful? Is it going to be something that we can look back on it from like a previous episode and go, that's what they're meaning on that. That's something that signifies something even bigger. To me, I kind of feel like we're going to have to wait till season 4 on that to find out. And so I'm a little bit disappointed in that. But like I've said before, I took the ending of this with Wednesday and Shadow, about him being, Shadow setting him up from the very beginning to die. I don't think that's what it is. I think Shadow is being set up to be reborn as a god under Wednesday's control. And that is what Wednesday is meaning by you're there to make me reborn. Basically, you're going to be reborn and you're going to make me stronger through that. I think that's what he's meaning. I don't believe for 1 second that Wednesday believed Chernobog was his second in command. Again, this episode it has some really good parts. It has some parts that made me really think about what the true meaning was. I'm going to have to go back and watch the season, see if maybe I can find some truth behind some things, find some hidden secret that happened that maybe I had missed overall. I will do an episode here on Rants or Us that is a whole season kind of review of kind of what I thought about the whole season in general, instead of just this episode review. Basically, a season review of it. I will do that later on. But as always, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the review. I hope y'all enjoyed American Gods in Season 3. And I hope y'all are looking forward to American Gods Season 4 as much as I am. As always, guys, thanks for watching. And y'all take care.